How's everyone doing today? You guys enjoying Vegas? It's always a great time in Vegas, isn't it? All right. I promise not to be boring. Someone just was walking out on just the sheer title. It's like, no, it's not for me. No, this is just too much. It's not for me. So I promise not to be boring. I like to do things a little bit more engaged and whatnot. I will talk a little bit about ACE, but that's not what the focus is going to be. It is going to be on the actual blockchain and the new decentralized world that we are finding ourselves entering into. So it's been quite a busy week for me. I've been, apart from doing startup stuff, I just came back from NFT New York. Came back last night, like super late last night. We were on a panel there and had to jet in here, and then my wife comes in as well and has condemned me to the rest of the weekend filled with enjoyment and hangovers. So I'm going to be here for a long time. I was supposed to be leaving right after this to head back home, but now I'm going to be around. So I'm going to be around even long after this. So if you catch me, I'm friendly enough, so ask me any questions you have about the space. I'm more than capable of answering anything to do with that. All right, so maybe to kick things off, let me tell you a little bit about myself and what I do. My name is Omi, as you can see. I am the co-founder and chief product and technology officer for Artist Crowdfund Exchange. We are a web3 social platform designed for artists and creators at all levels of their careers in the sports and entertainment industry. And what we do is that we provide them easy to use crypto solutions to take their craft to the next step, especially to help them get settled in web3 and to make use of the blockchain and stuff like that. That stuff, right? Myself, I've been working in tech for a very long time. Well, a longish enough time. I've been working I've been in the tech field about 15 plus years now. Started off as an engineer, then moved into product about a decade ago. I've worked on some of the products that a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of you know and love today, and are some of the big names like Microsoft and Google, where I spent the most of my career leading like products teams and products, especially new and growing existing product lines. But that's enough about me. That's not why you're here today. So, all right, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of things. I am not going to use a slide deck because let me take a step back. Typically, when I do these things, it's a little bit more technical, right? So I dive into like protocols and the core architectures of smart contracts and the like. But I think that won't be as useful to you guys as I'm sure that you would want, right? So my goal for today's session is to give each and every one of you a working understanding of blockchain and Web3 so that you can leave here and go and start to know where to start to apply them into existing products today and design new products for tomorrow. So is that a fair enough goal that you guys all want to? Okay, great. We are on the same page, good. Questions, there'll be plenty of time for questions at the end, but given that I want this to be a little bit more interactive, so if you do have questions, just raise your hands and a mic will come your way, and we can just go like that. Because I know that, yeah. So yeah, because I know that that a ton of you, that this type of topic has a lot more questions, and I want to make sure that I'm focusing on things that you guys actually want to know, right? All right. So to jump into things, so what is Web3? When people are talking about Web3, what on earth is Web3? When did it start? Like, what are people talking about? What are we in Web 2? What the hell is Web 2 even? So, Web 3 is just the new evolution of the World Wide Web. It's just the next evolution of the World Wide Web, and we're really already seeing it right now. It's not like a stopping point, like a one line where, okay, great, well, you move from Web 1 to Web 2, and then Web 2 to Web 3. It's kind of a seamless, like, transition. So we are transitioning into Web 3 now, right? What does Web 3, what's the core, at the cornerstone of Web 3 is decentralization of content of everything. It's community and decentralization. So that's all you need to remember about what makes Web 3 different from the world that we have today, from the web that we have today, is just community, a stronger focus on community and decentralization. What that brings is better attribution and ownership of user content across the board. The ability for the community to be players in how the actual, in how protocols and the technology work. Essentially, what the rules are, right? That's kind of what. Oh, and a protection of the users from centralized authorities on the web, which there are quite a few right now. We have the entire web is controlled by just a handful of big corp that can make a decision and change the way countries are, change a lot of things about a lot of things. So we're trying to move away. So the world is moving away from that. Now, what's Web 2 and what's Web 1? Right? You can think of Web 1, the best way to think of Web 1 is the static web. And this is the super early stage whereby it was just information, where businesses were coming online for the very first time, and all they're doing was you are just going to a page and you just get information, right? Web 2 is decentralized, is dynamic content, right? And the birth of user-generated content, whereby a user can actually come in and maybe create an account and upload like pictures and whatnot. So think about Facebooks and the social aspects of things. That's really Web 2, and that's where we are today, right? And Web 3 is taking that to the next step, because in Web 2, when you upload your content, you're uploading it to a particular like server, like a particular company, right? And they control it and whatnot. So Web3 is about decentralizing that control of things and allowing users to participate more in setting the rules, and not just having large corporations or kind of like saying, okay, great, this is how this works, and this is how you guys should do things, right? So I hope that helps like give like a fair understanding of what the Web3 aspects of things. But there's a big question in there is decentralization. I've used that a lot in describing that. So what do I mean by decentralization, or what does the crypto and blockchain world mean about decentralization? It's extremely simple. It's just taking, I've already explained it, is taking the specific content and rules and removing the central agency that controls that, and breaking that apart to to allow for a larger collective of people, of the actual users and the community to set the rules and to actually own the content itself. Why does this matter? Or more so, why should this matter to you? Why should decentralization matter to you? As product leaders, you are we are the voice of the users in the product, and the users care about this stuff a lot, especially now. So because the users care about this stuff, you guys should absolutely care about this stuff. Like I can remember that, think about how privacy became a huge thing in the product space the past few years. That is only because users started to complain, right? And then we're like, okay, you know what, we kind of have to do a better job of this. It's the same thing with decentralization. Care about it because the users care about it, and that's kind of like what they want to do. Anyway, I haven't mentioned blockchain yet. So where does blockchain fit into all of this? Now, okay. Now, I know that during this crypto winter, that even the sheer mention of blockchain turns stomachs. And people are like, oh my God. And I know that some or many of you have been hurt very deeply during this correction. It's a correction, market correction of all crypto markets. But you shouldn't blame blockchain, because crypto is not blockchain. Blockchain is the underlying technology. Cryptocurrencies is an application of blockchain. The technology works flawlessly. It works exactly as it should. Right? Don't blame blockchain, blame crypto. Now, the key thing there to note there is that crypto is an application of blockchain, but it's not the only application of blockchain, right? We have NFTs, we have DAOs, we have so many other things that are built on top of blockchain, right? That are not cryptocurrencies. In fact, if you take a look at fully decentralized apps on the blockchain, during this winter, they've all been doing perfectly fine, right? It's really the projects are more centralized, and they're kind of just using blockchain just on the side that have been hurt the most. So blockchain works. So that doesn't explain what blockchain is, I know. So let me try and do a PM definition of blockchain, a PM level definition of blockchain. So how I like to explain it in the most simplest of terms is that blockchain is just a decentralized ledger system. That's it. Decentralized ledger system. The ledger part of it is just a record keeping system for events and transactions. So it's a report of all events and transactions. That's the ledger. And then that ledger needs to be decentralized, right? Meaning that it's not owned by a single person. It's owned by the community, by a group of people, by a group of machines. They own it. The community owns it in a trustless system. Now that goes a little bit more technical. What is a trustless system? It means that party A doesn't have to trust party 2 for them to communicate and do work. They don't need to, right? They trust the system to actually work. They don't need to trust each other, right? And that's what blockchain is. That's all you need to understand about blockchain. You don't need to understand friggin' proof of stake, proof of work, cryptography, Markov chains and all that, hash tables. You don't need to understand all of that, right? it's the details, yes, but you don't need to understand it to use it. Just remember that it's all about decentralizing a ledger system and giving it to the people to actually use. That's blockchain, right? So I hope you have like a little bit of nuggets. I don't know how we're doing on time. We are doing fantastically on time. So I do, as promised, I do want to give tons of times for questions. I think we're about 10 minutes. We can spill over a bit. So I hope you guys have tons of questions for me. And I promise, you can ask me about literally any aspect of it. Go as deep or as wide as you want. I'm sure I can handle it. I'm pretty well footed into this space, so I'm your guy. Questions? I think the mic is coming. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Okay, there we go. So I know very, very little, if anything, about blockchain. So I'm fascinated by having an SME such as yourself talking about it. One of the things that when you're talking about decentralizing information, right, which is functionally the ledger system that you're talking about, or the analogy, one of the things that I'm wondering is, first, someone has to set up those rules initially, correct?
Yes.
And then second, because it's decentralized information and there's no functional authority to correct it, are there, we'll say, any ethical pitfalls with a community going in a wrong direction, perhaps?
That is an excellent question. Now, you're absolutely right. Let me touch on a couple things on there. Yes, there are risks with a community going in a particular direction. But that is better than a single entity going in a particular direction, right? So this is the entire community. Think thousands of nodes that want to change the way that a transaction occurs on the blockchain. Those nodes need to be in agreement on, okay, great, you know what? This is where we want to go, and then it's happens. Not a VP somewhere that says, you know what, we're now doing this. And then the entire world, billions of users now have to sort of go that way. So there still stands a risk, right? But the risk is much smaller in the decentralized world. I forgot the first part of your question. What was that?
Oh, shoot. I don't know if I remember it now either. Yeah, I don't remember it.
Okay, all right. We'll go with that.
We'll go, yeah.
Answered, great. Oh, no, please go ahead.
Oh, here's the microphone.
Thank you. So the way I look at this, and it's just to blend completely off of yours, we're playing around with this. This is all experimental. Like there's the concept of a DAO, and we're figuring out how that works. How do people vote together? What level of centralization do we actually want and need depending on the project, because it's not you're fully centralized or you're fully decentralized. It's a range and a blend, and we're figuring out the best models for depending on what we're working on.
Yes, and I remembered the first half of your question now, and that is absolutely correct. It's the wild, wild west. This is we are in the early 90s and late 80s of the internet, like, boom. It's the wild, wild west. Nobody knows what they're talking about. That's not true. Like, a lot of people don't know completely what they're talking about, right? But it's fine. Like, we're figuring this out as we go along. And it's with trials and failures and 40% collapses and 100% evisceration of value is how we would learn and make things better. That's just how things go. Now, to the first part of your question is that how do they actually set up like voting structures? How do we know like how that works? Now, there is a concept of a DAO, and I'll take a second to explain that. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, right? So what that means is that you have the rules governing how this organization operates, right, have been burnt into a smart contract that lives on the blockchain. Remember, anything that lives on the blockchain is immutable and cannot be changed forever. So once it's there, right? No one can change. In fact, it can be changed, but it requires the majority of all the nodes that exist to be in agreement to change that. And more often than not, that never happens, especially for an open source blockchain where anyone can sort of spin up a node and join at any point in time, right? So there is a voting structure that is burnt into that to say, hey, if we want to change the cost of performing a transaction on the chain from $1 to $2, right? There needs to be a majority of, you can set in the rules that there needs to be an 80% majority vote to make that kind of action happen, right? And then there are protocols in place for all the nodes, the participants, to actually give their vote, right? And once that vote happens, the blockchain does the rest. Quite literally just does the rest, just makes the changes. That's how it works. All right, questions? Oh, was one in the room?
It's also down there.
Oh, I bet. Excellent. All right, can you please share some use cases that your artists are solving with your tech? Why do your users want to use Web3 and blockchain? That's an excellent question. So we don't have users. Maybe to explain a little bit more about what ACE does, we don't have users that come on to say, okay, great, you know what, I want to decentralize or I want to use Web3, right? That's not the problem that they're trying to solve. They're trying to solve another issue that is better solved in Web3, right? So things like taking ownership of their community, right? Being able to remove the middleman and actually for their fans to be able to invest directly in them and not pay Spotify who pays Universal who pays this guy and then the remnant sort of goes to the creator. Or buying tickets to go see your best team play and those tickets go bounces around from one place before it actually gets to the person that you want to go. They're solving that problem, right? It's not an issue for people who have made it, right? Then are earning millions of dollars as creators. It's a big issue for all of those who are not doing that, because they don't have the distribution for because they don't have the distribution for it. Like their users, their fans don't actually have a way of actually supporting them directly, except through in a formal way, right? So we provide solutions that help them do that and much more. We also do things. I was having a chat with someone who is a music engineer like a few seconds ago. There is a problem in that space as well, which is the value of the actual content itself, right? So the music content itself has been devalued. The actual content itself, the value is now in all the things that are surrounding it, the tours, the this, the that, the sponsorships. But the actual value of the content itself has been devalued because of digitalization. Because what digitalization brought was an easy way to copy content and just share it across without any tracking or any rights and all of that. Like we've all seen that. But with blockchain technology, we can actually bring that back. Specifically, if you think about how NFTs work. Now, NFT in of itself is not the artwork itself. It's not that. It's actually the contract, the ownership contract that that points to that artwork, right? So you can now have an actual ownership contract that points to a digital content for the first time, right? And be able to track this on the blockchain. So, and you can do more fancy things like prevent actual access to that digital content to just people that actually own the NFT, right? This is now allowing us to do stuff like that. And this is also part of some of the stuff that we do at ACE, right? So that answers that question. What is the current adoption of this decentralized world? How are we going to get more people involved? Okay, all right, let's do this as the last question. I will be around, so I will try to answer the rest of these if they can be shared with me, and then we can probably reach out to the people who asked them. Well, they're anonymous, so reach out to anonymous. But I'll be around to sort of answer the rest of them. Let me read through the other ones, see which one's kind of like, okay, they're votes. All right, so we'll do that one. Can you please share some, no, that's, what are some, wait, hold on. Oh, this is changing, okay. What are your thoughts on preventing large TradeFi corporations from becoming whales and dictating DAO governance and voting? That's an excellent question. You can actually, with a simpler solution, you can prevent, because you can write the rules into the smart contract, you can prevent things like this. Like there are whale prevention clauses that are popping up in smart contracts everywhere now. Like, okay, if the user owns more than a certain amount of stake within this particular thing, that they can't sell more than a certain amount, or their voting rights is still restricted. You can write all of that into the smart contract and prevent things. And more folks are now thinking about more ways to actually solve it. But it's solvable, and it's already being solved by some. I know that was a very short answer, but hopefully it is a short answer. You just write the rules into the smart contract to prevent this. And this is a very easy one that you can actually just prevent by writing. I can think of a million rules that would prevent this. So, all right. Thank you, everyone.